Now that we've set up our logic in the player characters event graph for the death and the dying states, we can go ahead in our content browser and grab the sprites we need to make the sprite flipbook animations for those states. So let's go into the content browser and find them. For the dying animation, we're going to grab these somersaulting looking animations here. So the character will just sort of spin until they finally fall dead on their back. So we'll grab these four. We'll make a flipbook by right-clicking, create flipbook. We'll name this anim dying. And we'll open it up here. It's moving very fast again. Let's slow it down and just scrub through the animations. So the character starts somersaulting backwards, backwards, upside down, backwards. So they can do this as long as they're in the air, they can spin like this. That's good, but we want the frame run for each of these to be 2. If we hit play now, it's not bad. Let's speed up the frames per second slightly, maybe. Yeah, that's good. Quick spin like that when hit. Okay, that's that. And lastly, we have just one frame for it's this one right here for when the body is just lying dead. Since we're setting a flipbook in the event graph, we'll just make a one frame flipbook for this. It's probably easiest. So we'll just call this anim dead. And we'll go now to the player characters event graph. I'm here in event on landed. So on landed, we want this to be anim dead, just the dead body. And when it's in the midair being hit by the force, we apply in the get hit event. We set the flipbook here before we add force here. So for this flipbook, we'll make this anim dying. Compile and save that. And let's hit play and see how this looks. So if I jump in the level, we can see right now we're just getting a bit of a hit reaction. We're not actually getting the death reaction we want. So let's look in the event graph and see how this get hit event is interacting with the spikes blueprint actor that we created earlier. We set our get hit event to send us some damage. So this means back in our map, in our game level, this is our actor we created, the spike actor that causes damage. So we're going to open up the blueprint. And we can see right now the default hit is 0. So we gave the player character 100 health points. So we're just going to set this to 100 so it kills him instantly. Compile and save that and close this up. So now when I play this level and I hit the spikes, I should die. And there we go. It looks as we intended. We see a quick spin and then a death with the character lying on their back. But we can tell there's a bit of an offset problem here where the character is floating a bit above the world. If we track down the sprite for the dead body animation in our content browser here, we can open it up in the sprite editor. And we can see by default our pivot mode here was set to bottom center. So we want to switch this to custom. And we just want to tweak this a little bit to lower it. Let's try 614. There we go. We lowered it a little bit to make it look a little bit more like it's lying on the surface where it landed. Save that and play again. There we go. That's a much better looking position when the body finally comes to rest. And with those sprite offsets in place, that resolves our work on the dead and dying animations. To review this module, we looked at inputs and booleans for shooting. That included creating a player input that sets and checks for boolean conditions to avoid unwanted player actions. We looked at spawning projectile and impact actors. This made use of the spawn actor from class function to create moving projectiles that originate at the player character and sprite impact effects that originate at the point of collision. We also looked at collision detection for shooting. Here we created collision events and checked for collision types to determine when to spawn an impact actor. We looked at animating projectile and impact sprites. This involved importing sprites for them and animating them in the Flipbook editor. We also looked at adjusting sprites and flipbooks for shooting animations. This showed how we can fix sprite offsets when certain keyframes are misaligned. And finally, we looked at syncing the keyframes for shooting, where we showed how to synchronize the projectile launch with a desired keyframe in the shooting animation.